This is the Everything Weight Loss podcast with Shari Ware, where we talk about everything, all things, anything to do with weight loss, health, and wellness. Shari Ware from Fab New Body here, and today I am introducing Fab Fridays. What is Fab Fridays? So Fab Friday is every Friday at 5:30 p.m. Queensland time. I will be coming to you live for a short, say 10-minute video on something. It will be something that can help you. It will be some Fridays I will be having giveaways. I will be doing all kinds of things. There's so many things that I can include in Fab Friday and will be including in Fab Friday. So if there's anything that can help you, first of all, I'm going to put it out there. I would absolutely love for you to tell me in the comments anything that you would like some help with or that you would like to know about in regards to health and wellness or weight release, because that's what I'm all about. So today for Fab Friday, I'm actually multitasking, which is not actually a good thing normally, and that is that's a topic we will talk about on another Fab Friday or on another podcast. But today I'm multitasking, and I am actually going to use this as my podcast episode for a few reasons. First of all, I wanted to challenge myself and test out doing it live. So fingers crossed, what is actually going to happen is this will go off without a hitch. I will be able to download the recording and do my fancy editing that I've gotten so good at with my new podcast and use this as my podcast episode for this week. And if that doesn't work, I will figure out something else because that's what I do. So, what are we talking about on this week's podcast? Well, on this week's podcast, we're talking about the importance of sleep. Why is sleep so important? So, first of all, and I've got some visual aids. They're not very fancy, but hey, anything's better than nothing. First of all, sleep increases inflammation. Poor sleep is definitely something that adds to inflammation. Why inflammation is so bad will be another podcast episode or another Fab Friday episode, but it's not best. It's not what we want. Inflammation is definitely something that we want to avoid. Studies have shown that lack of sleep can negatively impact our brain function. Now, this is the thing that really got me when I did research on this. It can impact our brain function to a similar degree as alcohol intoxication. So if we don't get enough sleep, it can actually be we can actually feel as if we're drunk, and that's certainly not a way that we should be operating, especially if we're driving a car, things like that, or machinery. And what is the CCPP for? That means that it can impact our cognition, our concentration, our productivity, and our performance. So definitely not things that we want impacted. What else does lack of sleep do? It impairs our immune function, and that ties in with inflammation as well. This is a scary one. There are 15 different studies that have shown that people who don't get enough sleep are at a far greater risk of heart disease or stroke than those who sleep 7 to 8 hours a night on average. I'm just getting all the bad ones out of the way first. Figure we may as well just rip the Band-Aid off. Sleep deprivation can cause prediabetes in healthy adults in as little as 6 days. 6 days, people. 6 days of sleep deprivation, and you're looking at pre-diabetes. Type 2 diabetes. Many studies show a strong link between lack of sleep and type 2 diabetes. And when we talk about lack of sleep, we're talking about getting less than 6 hours a night on average. Along with this, or as part of this, lack of sleep increases insulin resistance and decreases insulin sensitivity. They're two sides of the same coin. And if you've seen one of my earlier podcasts, a couple of months ago, I think it was now, I did an episode on insulin resistance. So you might want to check that out. And I will put the link in the show notes when I actually release this podcast episode. You guys are getting it. First cab off the rank. It raises our cortisol. Lack of sleep causes the body to release additional stress hormones such as cortisol. Now, the next one is a big one, and it's one very, very close to my heart. This is why I do what I do. Obesity. Lack of sleep is strongly linked to weight gain, and this was one of my biggest issues. This is one of my biggest problems. Short sleep duration is one of the strongest risk factors for obesity. In one extensive study, children and adults with short sleep duration were 89% and 55% more likely to develop obesity, respectively. Now, part of the reason for this is when we don't get enough sleep, we talked before about hormones. It affects our hormones. There's two hormones in particular that it affects to do with obesity, and that is when we don't get enough sleep, it increases our ghrelin hormone, which is our hunger hormone. That's the hormone that tells our brain that we're hungry. Now, as well as increasing our ghrelin hormone, it decreases the levels of the leptin hormone in our body. And the leptin hormone is the hormone that tells our brain that we're satiated, that we've had enough to eat. So not only do we get hungrier when we don't get enough sleep, our brain also doesn't get the signal that we've had enough to eat, so we just eat more. We're starting to understand why sleep is so important. Okay, we're starting to get to some of the good stuff. Some functions of the body are dependent on sleep, including some more hormone production, such as testosterone and growth hormone, which helps the body grow and repair. When we sleep, that is when our body repairs itself. What else can sleep do, or enough sleep? It improves our problem-solving skills and enhances memory performance. So when you're sleeping, the brain sorts and stores information which is important for creating long-term memories. Okay, now I've saved this one for last because I know it's going to get your attention. Let's talk about sex, baby. Lack of sleep reduces our sex drive. It decreases our libido. You got to get your sleep so you can get your sexy on. Now, I don't want to just give you all the bad stuff. I want to give you some tips or some things that will help you, because it's not just as easy as saying, oh yeah, get more sleep. Well, how do you do that? And sometimes it's not about the amount of sleep you get. Sometimes it's not about the hours. It's about the quality. I know I certainly get more hours now, but sometimes the quality isn't there. So how can we improve that? So I'm going to give you 5 tips because we want to keep this short and sweet today. 5 tips to improve your sleep. Number 1 is to set a regular sleep schedule. So what does that mean? Well, that means going to bed. On average, life is going to happen sometimes, and it might not happen all the time, especially in the beginning when you're creating that new habit. It's unfamiliar. We need to get familiar with it. But designating a normal bedtime, a time when you're going to go to bed each night, normally, on average, when life doesn't happen, and the same wake up time. So if you can get your body into a regular routine, it's going to help that sleep quality immensely. Number 2 is avoiding caffeine, nicotine, and alcohol within 6 hours of bedtime. So, if you're going to bed at 10 o'clock at night, you don't want to have any of those things past 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Number 3, exercise is really good for us. However, you want to avoid strenuous exercise within 4 hours of going to bed. So I know some people have to work out at night because that's the only time they can fit it into the day, and that's great because the best time for you to exercise is when you're actually going to do it. However, try to have at least 4 hours in between your strenuous workout, if you're going to do one, and when you're going to bed. Number 4 is avoid eating a heavy meal too close to bedtime. And you ideally want to be eating your last meal at about 8 o'clock at night, depending on when you're going to bed. And at least, longer if possible, but at least having whatever you eat last at night, at least 2 hours before you go to bed. That way, and longer if possible, but minimum 2 hours, and that is so that your body has time to digest it before you go to sleep. Because if your body's trying to digest food while you're sleeping, your body's not going to be repairing, you're not going to be able to repair itself while you're sleeping, which is what our sleep is supposed to be helping us, or giving our body the ability to do, giving it the chance to do. And number 5 is avoiding blue light before bedtime. So blue light is the light off the TV, is the light off your computer, is the light off your phone, any blue light, because that actually stimulates the brain. So I know it can be tricky. I am one of the biggest ones who did struggle with that. I don't watch TV mostly these days. However, if you do watch TV before you go to bed, within you want to be giving yourself ideally at least a couple of hours of no blue light before you're going to bed. If you are watching TV, you can actually get special glasses to take the blue light out. So that will help you. If you can not watch TV a couple of hours before you go to bed, that would be awesome. If we're talking about a computer, there is a free software that you can download onto your computer. It's called F.lux from memory, and I will put a link in the show notes. But from memory, it's so F for Foxtrot .lux, so F.lux. And you download that for free onto your computer, and you set the times. So between a certain time at night to a certain time in the morning, and you set that, it will take the blue light out of your screen. So I've got mine, I think it's set from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. or it could be from sunset to sunrise, something like that. But if I'm working on my computer at night, I don't have to worry about blue light because it's already set up that it takes the blue light out. And if you have a smartphone, there is a function on your smartphone. I don't feel that there would be any these days that do not have this function in some form or capacity. It might be called night shift or something like that. On your phone, it will be a setting that you can set, and that takes the blue light out of your phone, again, between certain hours. So you can set it from between 7 p.m. at night to 7 o'clock in the morning, or I'm pretty sure I've got mine set from sunset to sunrise. So hopefully that really helps you, first of all, understanding why getting, or some of the reasons. There's lots more reasons, but I did say I wanted to keep these Fab Fridays short, and I also like to keep my podcast episodes short because I want to give you value in the shortest possible time and something you can go away with, one topic you can go away with and actually do something with, take some action, implement, and then the next episode will be something else that you can work on. So hopefully this has given you some value, something that you can walk away and do something with. I would love feedback. I would love comments. And I would love if you have any topics to do with health or wellness, anything to do with health or wellness or weight release that you want help with, then please let me know in the comments, and I will be keeping a list of all the things that people want help with, and that's what Fab Fridays will be about. And also there will be, in the coming weeks, there will be some giveaways and some competitions, and who knows, there's so many things that I can do with Fab Fridays because it's just all about making our Fridays awesome. So that's it for today from me for the very first Fab Friday. Thank you for joining me, all of you amazing people that I can see there, and I look forward to seeing you next Friday at 5:30 p.m. Queensland time. Have a great long weekend, everybody here. Well, the people in Australia who have a long weekend. It's not all states, but Queensland is definitely one of them. So I will catch you next week. See ya. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode. Remember to check out the show notes, and if you have any comments, feedback or suggestions, I'd love to hear them. If you've received value from this podcast, make sure to subscribe, and I'd love you to rate and review the show. Have a fabulous day.